Good morning. Welcome back, everybody. Did you know 1 in 5 Canadians live with chronic pain and millions more battle invisible health conditions every single day?
Stress expert and workplace resilience strategist Allison Graham is back on the show and very familiar with the reality of living with chronic conditions as a pain patient for the last 17 years. She's here to share the best strategy that she has found to keep working when your body just will not cooperate. Good morning, Allison.
Good morning.
So good to see you, Allison. I have family members who have to deal with and suffer through chronic pain. Whenever I've had something where I'm in pain, I always think, my gosh, how does anybody get through? Because it is chronic. And you said there are coping mechanisms and you can live a full life. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, it started, I had a surgery. It was very simple and things went wrong. And ultimately, I ended up with nerve pain. And the first 5 years were really difficult because I was running a business and trying to still live my former life. And like so many Canadians, going to work, putting a smile on my face, but behind the scenes collapsing. And I don't think we're having this conversation enough because the people who I work with are often very high executives and nobody knows they're in pain. It's invisible, or they have an autoimmune condition or something that's holding them back and causing their body to not be fully functioning.
So what do we do? Anybody watching at home that is going through this, take us through some points that you have found that have been really helpful for you.
Well, it can be a blessing in a way, which is hard to say, but often it forces you to be very strategic with your resources. You don't have the luxury of being overly stressed or of getting sucked into the drama at the workplace or feeling like just sorry for yourself because you only have so many resources every day to use and you have to be very strategic about how you allocate those. And so thinking, when is your pain the worst? Right? For me, it's often in the afternoon. So I don't book really important things to do or meetings in the afternoon if I can avoid it. But in the morning, I feel usually fresh and good. And so that's what I do my biggest thinking work. And so making decisions like that and really being productive and strategic with how you're doing your work, because otherwise your pain is going to control your life.
That's right. And you say supercharge your productivity.
Yes.
So what does that look like?
It really is looking for what are those repeating moments of angst, those times where it's just sucking out your energy because you don't have systems in place. So look at those and identify them and decide what are some of the options I can do to actually minimize that so that it's not causing me more and more like energy drain because your body's already dealing with the big stuff, the pain.
The next one there is choose an empowering approach to your pain.
If you're going to be in pain, which unfortunately, if you have chronic long-term pain, that's the reality. You can do an activity that you love and be in pain, or you can not do the activity and still be in pain. And so my choice was, I'm going to figure out how I can still have a fulfilling life, how I can still serve my clients and show up. And I had to make some sacrifices behind the scenes, right, where I wasn't able to do things that I would have loved to have done. But I am not willing, and I hope others aren't either, and I know a lot of people aren't, willing to be defined by their limitation physically. And that is an attitude that you need to choose each and every day to be resilient.
And it's how to manage it and live and thrive with it in spite of it. And you say validate your own experience. So how?
And the reason I say this is so important is because a lot of people, you can't see that they're in pain. And when people know me behind the scenes, they know what the collapse looks like, right? But they see a lot of this or out on a stage in front of, 100 people. And so I don't want my pain to be the story. I don't want it to be, but I know behind the scenes what I'm going through. And I think a lot of times people talk about their pain to help try to share the pain, right? And feel like maybe it's going to make me feel better. But it doesn't. It actually can intensify the pain because it's everything that's happening in your life.
How do you separate then that pain from the mood that you're in or working into or affecting your mood?
You know how if you're hungry, you can get a little irritable and angry? I call it hangry, right? I call this pangry. It's knowing that when you're in pain, it can be so irritating and so all-encompassing, it can impact your your ability to perform at work. So my rule is anytime I walk into a room, I did it walking into your studio here today at BT, right? Where is my pain at right now? And just bringing awareness to that and going, oh, I feel you, like making friends with that pain so you know if you're at risk. If it's going to interrupt, like, so when you're walking into a meeting or about to have a conversation, recognizing, am I pangry? Is my pain going to influence and put me at risk for being more irritable or grumpier or a little more short-tempered, whatever it is, and then bringing awareness to that so it doesn't impact your relationships.
And at home, that's the other thing, because then maybe that's where you let loose, and that's where everyone gets the worst of you. How do you manage that, your familiar relationships?
So I have the blessing of an incredible family who is so supportive, but we've had to have a lot of conversations because it's absolutely true. We tend to take out our angst on the people closest to us who love us. Have the conversation. So when I'm feeling pangry, I literally would say, just want you to know, pain's very intense right now. And I ask for a little bit of space and grace to be able to do that, as opposed to just letting it go, all day and you're just in a bad mood. It's like recognizing it and having the self-awareness of like, I'm a little extra edgy, and then calling it out. Not for permission to be mean, not for permission to be rude, but to say, just please give me a little bit of grace right now because the pain is really intense.
Grace and space.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for
Wonderful.
sharing your
Thank
story.
you so much.
Thank you.
Where can we follow you, Allison?
AllisonGraham.com, and I'm on LinkedIn and YouTube and all of that. But of course, thank you. I just want people who are living in pain and still succeeding. I see you and applaud
And you're
you.
a beacon of light and hope as to how to get through that day to day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, coming up next, we have got a release to add to your fall reading list. We're going to tell you about a second chance romance novel by a debut Canadian author. That's coming up right after this. And a connection, we love her very much. She used to work here on this show, in this building, and on a couple of shows, actually. So I'm so happy she's here. We've got Josh Richards coming up right after this.